Hi, everybody. I'm very excited because tonight I'm here at my little cabin in the woods, Murphy's Law, with my co-host, Robert Gwaltney, who's been on this amazing book tour for his book, The Cicada Tree. And it won an award, didn't it? Was it the Somerset?
Yeah, the
Tell us
Somerset
about
Award.
that. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it was. So it's a very tedious, long process. The Chanticleer Awards. You start off. You have to survive a slush pile, a long list, short list, semi-finalist, finalist, and then on for consideration for the award ceremony. So it was last Saturday night. I didn't get to attend in person. I did it virtually. But so now I can officially say that I am an award-winning author.
Yes.
Now I just have to become a best-selling one.
Well, we're trying to make you that. And I've been out to the Chanticleer for that event twice and been a keynote speaker, and actually even did some big hair makeovers. I even gave one of the professors there a man bun. It's legend. It's legend, y'all. Sean Dreyer, he about died. But anyway, we're here tonight with Tracy Carnes, who is going to be my new co-host for the Pulpit Queen Shah Rukh Khan Friends and Film Club, which I've changed the name. It's Friends and Film Club because we are really excited about all of his films and those coming out in 2023. Tracy lives right over in Shreveport, Louisiana, and will be coming with me. For everybody who doesn't know, I'm having surgery July 25th, so I needed somebody to drive with me to go to Fairhope. So Tracy is going to be riding with me. She's a good friend. And so it takes all day to get there. It's a long haul, but we will leave early. Now, the film we are watching tonight is a film that came out in the early part, I think it was March 2021. It's called RRR. And the original name comes from the director and the two stars that starred in it. And I'm going to butcher their names because I'm still trying to learn Hindi, but N.T. Rama Rao Jr. is one of the actors, and Charan is the second actor. Then the director is S.S.Rajamando. This stands for Rudran, Rajan, and Rudaran. But that was too hard for especially the English speaking or NRIs, the non-returning Indians, over in London for them to say. So they changed it stands for Rise, Roar, and Revolt. Now, when I saw the poster, they're using this RR theme like crazy because they got rocks, rules, and rips on the poster. And even little sideline story is, as you begin the movie, they start out, it says the story. Then it changes to the fire. Then it changes to the water. This is just in the very first segment of the film, giving you kind of the backstory on it. But there's an R that they put capital in each one of the story, the fire, and the water. They are playing off of this, and RRR is really a great name because nobody forgets it. So they're calling it a global phenomenon. And what I like is they put the blockbuster you have never heard of. And see, I think I was just a little bit of the American curve, ahead of the American curve on discovering Bollywood, Tollywood, Hollywood, sandalwood, all the different woods of India. I felt like I had found the pirate's treasures of films. Then this film came out, and I've been just, going crazy because there isn't a Shah Rukh Khan, and that's what my biggest film star favorite is. There hasn't been one because of COVID, and we won't get any until right after Girlfriend Weekend, January 25th. His first Pathan is going to be released. I'm hoping it'll be released in theaters here. So this film came out, and I just happened upon it and thought, I'll watch it. Y'all, I was on the edge of my couch watching the film. The TV's right over here. I couldn't even get up to go to the bathroom. I was so, there wasn't an intermission, and I just could not quit watching it. So I started shooting it out there. And now I'm going to, now I know you were on tour, but you got to watch a little bit of it, Robert. What were your initial reactions to the film?
I mean, I think that, I mean, it's beautifully shot, but extremely violent. I love the opening sequence. You know, it's very disturbing. I do under, so apparently a lot of animals might have been harmed in the film, but none were actually harmed in the filming of the movie. I think everything was computerized.
It was, it was.
But done beautifully.
It's probably the best use I've ever seen of animals in films where it looked real. And I mean, I love this, the fact that from up above, the way they filmed it, you know, where you're watching the tiger catching up with the guy. I'm going, oh my gosh. But I will tell you, the beginning of the film brought back my favorite books of my childhood was Tarzan. And Tarzan was swinging through the jungles and running around with panthers and elephants and ferocious animals. And I was immediately thought, oh my God, this is way I felt when I read those books when I was a kid. This was what was going on in my mind. But it is violent. And I want anybody that's watching this, you know, just be for children, especially that are, you know, you need to really think about because it is excessive violence, but it all makes sense. Okay. So hang in there. I know it's tough. Just close your eyes. I actually have to on some parts. Anything else? That the cinematography is incredible.
Yeah,
the music.
It's beautiful.
And the drums. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there was that one sequence was a little over the top where the single a single individual, he jumped into the crowd and fought his way through. I know. I'm not quite sure.
No way. Well, when you get to the end of the movie, you'll know why.
I'll understand.
Because this movie ties into Indian religion and their well, I don't want to give anything away.
Well, the scope of the picture is breathtaking. You know, I mean, it's just immense. I mean, the crowd scenes and apparently it's the most expensive film ever made in India. 70s, the equivalent to US dollars.
70,
yeah.
How much? You're cutting out, Tracy. I can't hear you.
75 million.
Oh, well, I think they've already made it back. It passed 100 million. Yeah, they've already made it back. And I'm sure there
I think around 180.
The director of this film is known for these epic films, and he did two that were one was a sequel to the first. I've never seen anything like BAB. I should have written out how you spell it, but he did those. He's done a lot of films, but this isn't. The two guys were new to me because I'm not real familiar as much with Tollywood movies as Bollywood, but Ajay Devign, who's married to Kajol, played the father in the film. I love him and everything he does. And Alia Ghatt played the girlfriend of the British Indian police officer, and she's fantastic. So
there was sort of a Spielberg-esque Indiana Jones quality. Reminiscent of that in moments. They have
on YouTube a video of American movie industry people remarking on the film, and they're all just going crazy. There is a reviewer I've become fans of because of the review he did on this movie. His name is Patrick H. Wilhelms. I think he's British, but he does the longest review I've ever seen on a movie, and he nailed it, man. He nailed it. And he normally doesn't do movies like this. In fact, most of the people that were reviewing it said they'd never really seen a Bollywood film before, and they were kind of blown away. So if you've never seen, it was kind of on the same way as a Mel Gibson. What was the Gladiator movie that he was? It was
The Mad Max films?
no, after that, the one where the medieval.
Oh yeah, I can't remember.
I couldn't hardly watch it because heads were lobbing off left and right. But this film had the same kind of brutality and physical violence as the Mel Gibson film on Jesus of Nazareth. I watched it one time and never could watch it again because I was so in pain from the whipping that he got carrying the cross that I swore I'd never watch another film like that. But yet this film has a scene in it that's very reminiscent of that. Only worse.
Straight from it. It's taken straight from it.
Yeah, it's incredible. So, but if you get a chance, watch the Patrick H. Wilhelms review of it on YouTube. This is set during the 1920s in British, and they're two freedom fighter revolutionaries that, and I can't give anything away because Robert hasn't seen the whole thing, and most of the people probably listening have not seen it yet, but it all makes sense. But I have to tell you, as soon as you watch it again, because it's so fast paced that you miss a lot. And I went back the third time, I go, oh, there were so many things that happened so fast that I finally understood the full. Whoever thought this out is absolutely brilliant of how they brought it together. And then I love how they brought in the Indian religion at the end, and it was just something.
Well, the two main characters are actually they're real life heroes, right. Real life Hindu heroes in India, and they never met. And what Rajamouli is trying to do is like, hey, what if they did meet? What would have happened? And we go from here. And he's kind of, it's very he stole a lot from I think everybody does, everybody like in America has their own, films that they steal from or whatever for your director. And for him, it was a Hindu spaghetti Western called Sholay. And that's like the epitome of the buddy movie. And that's where that comes from. So we need to watch that
Sholay?
to take a look at what he's trying to do there.
Have you seen the film?
You're cutting out a little bit.
I wonder why. Have you seen Sholay?
I have not. I tried to find it, and I could rent it. And so I was going to see if I could find it on YouTube later. But I think it would be, if you're really a big fan of this movie, then I think that you need to go back and look at it, because I think
Moby. Have you heard of Moby? MOBI? Because they show a lot of the early Indian films. I've watched so many of them. I've subscribed to Moby so I can go back and watch. I watched the first Devdas. There's actually been 3 versions of Devdas that Shah Rukh Khan starred in, and I watched the original one, and I was so touched by that film. But I have to say I like the Shah Rukh Khan one better. But it actually was more of a film and less of a Bollywood movie, even though it was shot, in Bollywood. But the problem with me is when I watch these shows, I go down these rabbit holes, you know. I go, well, I need to find out more about this director. I need to find more about these two guys who are legend in South India. And but the AJ and Alia who are in it, they're seasoned. I mean, they've done a zillion films with Shah Rukh Khan and all the big Hollywood greats. But I'm beginning to know more about the Indian films more than I am the American ones. So I just haven't seen any good films. And other than that Leo Grande film, which
I love that one.
I love that one. Have you seen it yet, Robert? What's the beginning of it called? It's in Thompson.
Leo Grande. Leo Grande.
Yeah, Leo Grande. It's something else. I've never seen a film quite like that one before either. But
it's like a play. It's you know, it's like a play. You know, it's very narrow in scope, and I tend to kind of like that kind of movie a lot because you know, there's not a whole lot. Sometimes my mind is so full of stuff. Just give me something very small to look at, you know, to take my mind off. And this just kind of did it.
It's mostly done in a hotel room.
It really is. And it's the, you know, the thing of it is you know, for my age, it reaffirms some things that I'm like, you know what, I probably should be more open. I should not be so closed to, you know, my body image and that sort of thing. And so, you know, I really like that. But getting back to RRR, you know, what surprised me, and I kind of caught it, and I looked at some reviews, like there are some immense nationalistic undertones in it. I don't know if you caught that.
There are in almost all films.
It's very, you know, you know, you can look at it very propagandic. You know, it's a little anti-Muslim. You know, one of the things that Beam immediately emphasizes when he's kind of confessing to Raju is that he's not a Muslim, and that's very important. You know, in the play, that one little line seems to be very important in the plot, and it you know, it's very anti-colonial, which I get that. I mean, that part is great. I need to study more about India because apparently there is a major, you know, kind of rising, just like we have here in America. There's a rise of nationalism. And the flag, you know the flag that's used, there's like 3 different spots where it's used really heavily. That is a nationalistic symbol, and it was designed by the father of Hindu nationalism. So it plays an immense role in this as being, you know, very nationalistic. And one of the plot points that I didn't like it, and I caught it, and I kind of thought it was a little strange, was you have these two heroes. They're supposed to be equal strength and physicality. I mean, you have Beam that wrestles with this tiger at the very beginning. I mean, these are superheroes. They've been raised to superhero status, but then you know, without trying to give too much plot away, Beam becomes very submissive to Raju. You know, Raju, you know, his name is part of his name is Rama, and that in itself is Rama Yama. That's a Hindu god. And, you know, I mean, he even is with this, when his hair grows out, he doesn't have the shirt. He's got the bow and arrow. I mean, that is complete, you know, it's not just like trying to be a
No,
symbol.
it's like he's come, the
It
God
is-
has come to life.
He is a God that has come to life.
Right.
And even his girlfriend's name is Sita, which is also a goddess. So there's all of this mythology that's wrapped in here. I wish I knew more about, Indian. And now I'm probably going to start reading a lot of Hindu
You're
mythology.
going to get so
Because
addicted.
It's such a rabbit hole. It is such a rabbit hole, but you're watching this like, and I'm like, that's a symbol for something. And it was until I, started kind of looking all this stuff up. And what I did not, what I didn't like about part of the plot point was that Beam becomes submissive to Raju, to the point that says he wants to be his student. And I thought that they were going to be equal. And instead, Beam is more, he's just very submissive to Raj. And I caught that, and that's sort of, it's very
If you
cast.
watch it the second and third time, you'll understand why. Because the police, the guy who's the officer, he is had a horrific thing happen when he was a child that left him literally totally focused on following his father's mission because of what happened to his mother and his sibling and his father.
It's
The other
terrible.
guy is from a people in India that are very much like shepherds. They say they all like to flock together, and they have one person that protects them all, and it's this guy. But they're very peaceful people, more like Gandhi, And so he is of a different type of belief system. So I don't think I think it takes more strength to be stepped down than to be violent.
I just kind of thought it was a little caste system, maybe because of
I don't think the other boy was from any different caste than he was. I think it was the way they were, what happened, life circumstance. You just got to see the whole thing. Watch it again, and I have a little bit better insight into it. Of course, I'd love to have somebody here that was from India that could discuss it with us, because we're seeing it from a totally American point of view. I was wondering what they think about this in England. Quite frankly, there is as many, they call them NRIs, non-returning Indians in England as there are almost in India now. They're kind of taking over the country. And I'm wondering what, because it really portrays the British as, bad. I mean, we're talking as bad.
I mean, not just what's his name, Scott, and his wife.
Oh my gosh! I was telling him before we started. The guys, the guy who's in charge of the colonel or the head officer.
Whatever he is.
My God, he has a wife that is about as ruthless as I've ever seen in a film.
She is evil,
sadistic,
evil,
and wants to see blood running down the road. I mean, it's.
And then there's a part where I won't give it away, but when you see it, it's just like she gets her comeuppance. She gets to see blood.
Oh my God, and the blood. And during this film, they always mark the bride when they get married with vermilion, and it's that red. There's a lot of references to the. In fact, I made a note that it is, where did I write this down? It's the beginning of the film is actually stands for death and blood, and fierce death and blood. That's the Telugu. That is that type of Indian for the rise, roar, and revolt. And then, of course, there's lots of references to, in fact, a lot of Bollywood stars have, you know, there's Tiger Shroff. They all have Tiger, the lion, you know, Shah Rukh Khan's going to be in this new film called The Lion. They all have references to the fiercest animals that are out there. And, but okay, let's go to, there's 3 dance numbers in this film. And the first one is unlike anything I've ever seen in a film before. First of all, I don't know how men can that big and muscular can dance that fast. You think they sped it up?
I don't know. I think they sped it up a little bit. It's like Footloose on massive steroids. It's like you gave them a jar of that stuff that they sell on TV. It is.
I drank a case of Red Bull and was doing, I've never seen
just
footwork like, and they were perfectly in sync with each other. And of course, just all these British people in their finery, women just, you know, because I'm telling you, if a guy wants to be popular in school, be a good dancer. Be a good dancer.
Especially the one woman. Oh, it just, you know, those dance moves. I don't know how they did it because I mean, I'm sitting there trying to keep up.
I was out of breath.
I think they sped it up. You know, they had. I think they did. Because I was looking at one spot and I'm like, she's moving a little too choreographed slowly so that they look like they're sped up. So I think it was, but it doesn't matter. It's
seamless.
It's seamless. It's incredible. I've never ever seen anything like that before in my life. And I love dance, and I'm a dancer.
And I love the song Nacho Nacho, which we think of nachos, but it's not that. But the thing about it is, and the drums, I love the drums of the Indian music. The thing about the dancing in the film is that it doesn't sound like it would make any sense, but it's like a competition between the British guy who's been trained in tango and the waltz and swing, and he's demonstrating, and he says, dance with me because I'm an expert. And then the guy goes, and you don't think we are? And it just takes on, I just loved it. But here's the thing about Bollywood films. Shah Rukh Khan always claims that he's not a dancer because he memorizes short, you know, pieces, and then it cuts away and it shows from another angle. In this film,
Looks like they
didn't cut away very much.
No,
and I'm thinking, I've been gasping for air trying to keep up with it and everything. But back to Shah Rukh Khan, I've seen him dance at Filmfare Awards, and he does the whole dance. He's being humble. He can dance. I don't care what he says. He's a good dancer. But these guys are on another level. But the one thing about the South Indian films that compared to the ones in Mumbai, is that they usually always take upon a social issue, and they usually bring religion into their films. There's always some kind of underlying, you know, whether it's patriarchy or it's, you know, I watched one film where the young girls are killed when they're born because, you know, they don't want girl babies. And is something chirping? Is that me or?
It's my phone.
My cat's going, there's something chirping in here. I was going, what is that? But you know, I'm starting to see the differences in everything. But if you've never seen a film like this before, hang on, it's a wild ride. And I don't normally show I haven't shown Indian films that much in our book and film club. I rather save them for the other one, but this one was just so great. And it just come out, and I just seen it. I said, oh man, I got to put it up there because it's real. I think it'll be nominated for Academy Award for best.
It supposedly is tracking to that. But it got released so early in the year this year because it kept getting put off because of the pandemic, because it's raging in India. You know,
we'll see. I think
if you're a fan of Avatar, if you're a big fan of Avatar, this is your film, because it had the same themes. It had a lot of the same CGI. Rajamouli, the director, is supposedly he's compared to James Cameron in India. So it's no. I mean, you can tell that there's that kind of influence in it with the animals, and the animals, in the fight scenes and all, are very, very much, kind of just almost straight out of Avatar, just in a different way. And it's just an incredible feat as far as filmmaking goes. And if it does not receive a nomination, something's gone terribly wrong.
I agree. I don't care if it came out early or not. And I think it's going to build. And I think that as many people in the movie industry from America that are commenting on it on YouTube and Instagram and all this stuff, I think it'll start building, because it will grow. But Robert, there's more animal scenes.
There's a lot more.
There's some pretty horrific animal scenes. Oh yeah, he's going, oh, the violence. I was the same way. I was just absolutely appalled. And then, I don't know, something happened to me. I got so invested in the two characters and their girlfriends and the sidekicks and the evilness of the big colonel and all those Nazi-like.
They are very Nazi. I mean, they've made that, they've made these British officers very Nazi-like, and I mean, that's that. And I get why, because we have this romantic vision of British colonialism. They see it different. And I get that. I mean, I really get it. But it goes a little, it is a little over the top, but it at the same time, this is not the kind of movie that I typically gravitate toward, but at the same time, I absolutely love Avatar. And if you love Avatar, I love Avatar. Avatar hits a lot of the notes of things that I like. I just don't like I'm just not a violency person anymore. I mean, I've gotten to the point now where I don't like superhero movies. I used to love them. 16-year-old self is going, what's not to like about Doctor Strange? But I just cannot get into it. And I've even gotten to the point where I'm trying very hard to watch Obi-Wan Kenobi, because of course 16-year-old self is going, you have to watch it. Oh my God, you have lived for this moment. And I just cannot, I've grown out of it, I guess. But I still love a good film.
The difference between those Marvel and all those comic book films is there's not a whole lot of story, and there is story in this. And I think a friend of mine, we went to the Batman Superman. Was it the Batman Superman movie where they had the 35-minute fight in New York City, downtown New York City? And I was going, come on. I mean, how long are we going to drive this fight out? I mean, if I got hit in the head with a piece of concrete once, I'd be dead. And in this movie, of course, they're superheroes. And that's the same thing with this. These guys are superheroes of India. They may not be wearing a cape or little speedy tights, but they are
There is not just a little bit, there's not just a little bit of plot in this film. There are several different plots weaving in and out between these two guys, and backstory and all this, that you know, I don't know how they did it in 3 hours, because there's so many plots. And the one thing that I was disappointed in was that I forget her name, the English woman that befriends Jenny. Yeah, I wanted to see more of that storyline, because
that's my one thing with Indian films, is that when they have a British or a white person or Australian woman or somebody that's, you know, white, they have not a whole lot of personality. I mean, it's just like they say their lines, but it's like they're not in the same, it's almost like they're not even in the same movie, because they don't, the most she ever got into it was the dance scene. So I have the feeling she was a dancer.
And then, you know, you see her at the end, but you don't get much plot between her and Beam, and there should be, because it's there. You can tell that she really, really likes him.
And he really, really likes her.
And it just kind of, you know, it's just, it's like a 4th of July that just it's a squib. It just goes,
I'm
you
picking
know, and I wanted there to be, I just wanted there to more of that. And I don't, and like you said, I don't know if that's kind of a Tollywood thing, because there's so much patriotism in this, that she's basically there as a vehicle to tone some of the colonialism in it, as far as, well, there are some nice colonists, but most of them are evil, and here they are. But we'll let you have this one good guy. Kind of,
look
it was
at,
kind of like she was like a token.
You also look at the way they do romance in their film. It's more overt. I mean, they look at each other in the eyes longingly, and they might sing together, but they don't show very much physical contact at all. There's some newer Bollywood and different types of films that are going around that do show and they consider them more Americanized films. A lot of where they go clubbing and stuff, but majority, I mean, the first time Shah Rukh Khan kissed somebody in a film, people were like, no, you know, he can't do that. And I'm thinking, all he did was just kiss her. It wasn't like and they made such a big deal about it.
We're so used to it. We're so used to it in our house. And
well, I could stand a little less of that used to it too. I'm, you know, some of it is just, you know, it doesn't even have any plot. It's just like,
but I wanted that plot. I wanted more of that particular plot, because I don't know. I just wanted him and her to have a little more plot, because I did find that interesting.
It will be interesting for when Robert watches it, because the friendship between these two guys is like, here in America, if two men did the things that they did in this film today, they would think they were a little bit different than they think of them in India. I mean, men openly hold hands, they hug, they cry, they love each other, and it's just so.
But it's a bromance. It's brotherly, because it's very brotherly. It's not, you know, there are no gay undertones or anything like that.
Well, there are a
It's
lot more gay films in India now than there used to be.
But this is more a romance. This is a true bromance, because both of these men supposedly in their own right are major heroes in Hindu culture. And so when you put these two together, and they hold hands, they look at to each other's eyes and everything. It's not.
Did you see the scene where they on the bridge with them? Where
yes,
I don't know if Robert got to it yet. You didn't see the scene where they go over each side of the bridge and swing in together and join hands?
No,
oh, wait till you see that scene.
Because see that.
How did they get out of that? They just dove in the water, didn't they?
I think so. There's fire or something, and there's a lot of fire going on in it too. Which of course is part of the actual title of the movie in
the story,
in
the fire, the water. So and I love how they bring nature into
an immense role in this. It's almost like it's not just about these men fighting back against colonialism. It's like nature is also rebelling against the colonialism. And I saw that too. I saw that was kind of a theme that, was more than just, colonial invaders.
Or being set outside or whatever.
It's like everything is trying to regurgitate them, the nature, everything. So, so that's why, the animals come and they fight back, and you haven't seen that yet. It is a roller coaster of a movie, but what I did like about it was that, unlike the Batman versus Superman or the Marvel stuff, the Avengers stuff, there's very little plot in those movies, because Americans just want to see and the whole the visual effects and everything. This actually has, it's very much like Avatar. It has a plot, and that plot, and it's just not just one plot. It's several different plots, and they're all woven together, till the very ending. And I did like that, because in America, we don't do that very well. We can either show a lot of graphics, and we can have a lot of fight scenes and stuff, but no plot, or we can have a plot with very little of that. It only James Cameron does it really well. And
look at the music. Look at the music in this film. The music built every scene up. It was actually, the soundtrack should win, because the way they built up every scene that was getting, it was an epic proportion. Like, remember the music narrates
the music narrates all of these scenes, and if you listen to it if you don't speak it, but it's you watch the words translated at the bottom to this music. It actually narrates the scene, and it brings these two men, and they're just men, but all of these songs raise them up in mythical proportions, with even one of the songs, even when he's got his shirt off and he's got the arrows and everything, that he's referenced as Shiva in there, that he's just as great as Shiva. And so
you remember the scene where he fought all those men that were trying to get into the barbed wire British guys, and he goes out into it. I mean, it's just absolutely I couldn't take my eyes off of it, but there's scenes in it where they dogpile him and they have it from up above. And then they show scenes where they're from inside of it, how they did that, where he's knocking them left and right with that stick, but they're doing it from like inside that huddle. And I was thinking, that's something I've never seen done before. There was a lot of that. And the fact they had the wide shots where you could see the bridge and then zooming in on, and did you notice that when the one guy was standing amongst the people and the boy goes into the water, that he's got the lightest outfit on of that mass group. His outfit's all white, so he stood out. And
Yes.
all those things were taken into consideration to build the, and they just look at each other. And I mean, they're like a quarter mile away from each other, and they just do hand signals and they know exactly what they're going to do to save the boy. I'm just going, okay, that's pretty amazing.
They're
just,
separate people. They're this is this is an Indian superhero movie. It's just they don't have capes and leather uniforms with nipples on them. They they're it's different. They're dressed, when they get stripped down into, certain, costumes get stripped down, they are representing a god. So,
they were kind of godlike built, don't you think? They were kind of like, I was like, they didn't even look real. I mean, they're so, and the fact that they were so much, they were different looking, but yet they could mimic the same strengths and the same dancing. That's still, it's something.
At the end, when they are, when Raji's on Beam's shoulder and they're moving as, that is some bad, that choreography. And I'm sure that, the harnesses and all that it took to film that. I've never seen anything in American cinema to even rival that. That went beyond Rambo. I mean, Rambo was like, is nothing compared to that particular fight scene. And it is very Rambo-esque. It's just like, it again, Rambo on steroids.
I'm thinking to myself, here you and I are going on and on about this movie that is about men, that is so violent. It's odd because you wouldn't think that would be, it's not the type of film I enjoy. But
either.
I could turn around and watch it again and again and again, just because I pick up little subtleties that I missed the first. It goes so fast. It goes so fast.
Well, I love a good movie, and I can break down. I guess it's because I've studied screenwriting and I've studied film, and I love film. I have probably watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood over 100 times just to study it. I can break that plot down. I can tell you everything there is to know about that movie just from watching it so many times, and not even reading about it, just showing it. And I guess when I lived out in Hollywood, I lived right up the street from Mizzo and Frank's, and I like to go there to get a gin and tonic every now and then because writers kind of hang out there. I just kind of thought it was really cool. Very, very old Hollywood, and that's in the movie. So that's become one of my favorite movies. And to be quite honest, I am not a Leo DiCaprio fan. I don't like him. I don't like the actor. He was perfect.
I do like him. I do like him a lot.
He was perfect for that role because of that. And I absolutely love that movie. And that too is a bromance movie, just in a different, in a different sort of way. It's a bromance. And Quentin Tarantino, is, he watches a lot of the Japanese films and all, and I wonder if I would love to know if he's gotten into Bollywood and Tollywood.
I would think he would love this.
Would be curious because he loves all these different film genres.
Well, it was pretty fascinating. I'll be excited to hear what you think about it when you see the whole thing, Robert. And I know, there's times when I just can't watch some of these because I don't like violence, but I don't know why it just didn't bother me after a while. I don't know. I don't think I become conditioned to it. I just think it lent to the story.
It was so over the top that you kind of, and I don't know, it's almost like watching it's almost like watching a train wreck in slow motion.
And we did watch a train wreck. There is a train wreck. There's a train wreck.
Like the train wreck. It's like a train wreck. It's almost, it's like the train wreck in what's it, The Greatest Show on Earth.
Oh yeah.
And you sit there and you just watch it, and this whole movie, it's not a train wreck at all. It's just so mythical. And I think that's why you enjoyed watching it, because it's the violence and they're just on a different level. It's just mythical.
Well, the big scenes reminded me of Lawrence of Arabia. You know how they had the big wide shots and all. I mean, they had a lot of, I don't know if that was CT, whatever you call it, where they brought in all those people or what, but that was pretty amazing how they did those wide shots with the bridge and all the people, and then the wide shots when they were up above. They must use drones or something, but it was great. And I will look forward to seeing what you think, Robert. But next month, we're going to totally switch gears. We're going back to one of my favorite films because I got totally addicted to watching Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's court case. It reminded me of all the great films that Johnny Depp has ever done. And one of my favorite films, my favorite, was Edward Scissorhands. So we're doing Edward Scissorhands next. I actually went as Johnny Depp as Edward Scissorhands one Halloween and won the Halloween contest because I really did look like him. And people.
The Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah.
The Edward Scissorhands that is in Hollywood, and he's usually down by the Dolby Theater, and there's a guy that every day he dresses as Edward Scissorhands, and he pictures with the fans for money. Those guys make about $600-700 a day, and he has these plastic hands. And my dog Sadie loved him because he would scratch my dog. And my dog loved him, but he looked, he looked just like him. The makeup was incredible. There's about 3 or 4 different Johnny Depp characters down there. And one day I actually saw a guy down there that looked so much like Johnny Depp, and he was hanging out there was something going on down there. And I had the dog down there, and kept making eye contact, and he pet the dog. And I swear to God, I think it was Johnny Depp. I really did. Didn't ask him, didn't say anything, but he looked too much like Johnny Depp. And I get the feeling that he's the kind of guy that would go down there and mock his own fame.
Well, he did. He went on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. He went in the cave where they take the boats, and people would come around the corner, and he'd, heckle them and stuff. They go, man, the animatronics are getting great. And he goes, I was the real thing, and they didn't know it. They thought I was a robot.
Yeah, and he apparently used to dress up and go
hospitals and Don't think he'll
reason
be-
alone, I admire
Don't think
him.
he'll be doing that anymore. But well, so that's what we're going to be. I'm pretty sure that's within the schedule for next month, and we're going to be meeting on Sunday nights. So the first Sunday of the month, and I know this is 4th of July, and but you know what? It's still during the time of COVID. There's a lot of people at home. Did you all hear the fireworks last night? Woke me up. They were really loud here. They were shooting them off last night, but no telling what it's going to be like on the 4th of July. But I'm normally
Well,
right here.
it sounds like Beirut here.
That's the
And
scary.
I mean, it will
Got
sound,
that thunder jacket for Radley. Yeah.
he is not bothered by it. Surprisingly, he's just not bothered by it.
What about your new little pooch? Is it bothered by fireworks?
I will find out. I don't
It's
know.
pretty tiny still, and it'll be really interesting. Let's see.
What dog do you have?
He's got a little.
Yeah, he's 9 weeks old. A little Chihuahua, we think. He might be a mix of something, but he's sweet. His name is Truman.
Bradley.
You got Boo Radley, and is yours after Truman Capote?
Yeah.
Hers is named after Boo Radley, and yours is, that's ironic. You know, you can always tell a writer's dog. They've always named like Harper. There you are. Are you going to growl at me?
He's growling at me. He doesn't like to be held.
He's so vicious. He's so vicious. Oh my. Well, Robert, it's good to see you. And both Tracy and I will be seeing you in Fairhope, Alabama. Everybody who's listening, April the 13th, Robert Waltney and Mandy Haynes will be featured at Page and Palette with 2 musical artists. And I just saw Grayson Cooks performing in Italy on a YouTube video. Wow. I'm really excited. This is going to be a big day. The place is very tiny. It has a very tiny stage that you speak on, and it's got a bar that runs the length of the room. But I mean, it's not very big. And then the gift shop and bookstore is, you know, out the door and kind of in an L, but it's right on the main street and side street. It's kind of like an L. And it's a cool shop, and we're going to have a lot of fun. And I know if Joe Formicella and Susan Hudson are going to be, and Sonny Brewer are hosting and brought this to life. He'll probably have his little dog there. He always brings his dog down to Page and Ballot. So you're not bringing your puppy, are you?
No.
Okay. All right. It's going to be really hot, you guys. I just read today, I got a notice that we're going to have power outages, I think starting this week, but I'm going to be gone because I'm headed over to Tracy's tomorrow, and we're working on a project. So we will see you there. You have my phone number. So when you get there, call me. I'm doing an event at the Eastern Shore Art Center Gallery at 10 to 12. And then
I'm about to get your book, Robert. I want to read your book.
Well, thank you.
well, you're gonna, it's Southern Gothic. So you're gonna just, and I've got everything packed up to bring you. I've got your little dome. I've got a book that I'm bringing you. I'm getting all my stuff together. This room is kind of crazy because I've got bags everywhere for all these different things. So anyway, Tracy, I'll probably get there 9:30, 10 tomorrow.
Works for me.
I'll call you on the way. And then Robert, thank you for coming. I know you're dead tired. Go spend some time with your little puppy and have a cocktail.
I'm going to right now.
All right. Thank you. Welcome back. And we'll see Ruthie next time. She'll be here too. So hopefully I'll get this downloaded and up on YouTube, and then we can share. So you all have a wonderful night. Roar. Wait a minute. It's rocks, rules, rips, or it stands for rise, roar, and
Revolt.
Well, pick your R, which one you want to do. But I will be recommending it for a long time. The last thing I want to mention, is I just got sent the documentary that we were a part of in Girlfriend Weekend in 2000, oh gosh, what was it? 15 in Nacogdoches. We had Dick Wall, who was the husband of Carol E. Wall, who wrote Mr. Wata's Guide to Gardening. It was her story about battling cancer and how this African man helped her restore her home as she was going through the chemo, and it helped her make the journey. And unfortunately, when the book came out, she had died. So Dick went on the road to do the book tour with his son, who's a documentary filmmaker, and they finished the film. It just won at the Austin Film Festival. It's shown all over the place. It's called The Book Keepers. And I put the link out there. You can watch it. I'm talking to Dick and Phil. It's excellent. And the best part about, and this is so selfish, I hate to even say this, but we're in the last segment of the film, and throughout the beginning of it, it's a really wonderful, Robert, you need to watch it because it shows what a book tour is really like, and how 2 people show up, 3 people show up, and how people walk by your table. Well, by the time they came to Girlfriend Weekend, he's in the alley of the convention center trying to order more books because the bookseller completely sold out of books. He's trying to get more copies. And then it's so wild because there we are all running around in fairy tale costumes. It like doesn't make any sense. I mean, you can see me dressed as a deer. I've got a deer head on, and all these different authors like Stephanie Chance, Lisa Wingate. I saw all these authors, and I'm just cracking up because we're all wearing fairy wings and stuff. It was Once Upon a Time was our theme that year, but it was really positive, and he even acknowledged us in the credits as the Pulpwoods Queen. So it's worth watching just because it's an important story about living each day to its fullest, and how we never know where we're going to go, but just follow that journey and keep putting yourself out there. And the overlying theme of the movie was, it's really not about becoming a bestseller. What he learned was it was the connections he made with the people along the way. I loved it because that's what Girlfriend Weekend is all about. Because when you come, Robert, for the first time, Tracy's been there. Tracy, you've been to Girlfriend Weekend, haven't you? Have you been to Girlfriend Weekend?
Oh yeah, 2010.
Yeah. Oh, that was a big year too. It's hard to describe. What was that?
Pat Conroy was there.
Oh yeah, it's hard to describe because you can't. You just have to experience it. So I get to meet you for the first time. We're going to be taking some group shots together. So hang on, rest up, and just enjoy your time at home, and keep us posted on all you're doing and, sharing. And so congratulations again on the award. I'm so proud for you. I knew it was going to be big, and it's only going to get better. I am guaranteed. And how are you doing on the new book? Are you coming along?
Slowly. I wrote a little bit this morning, and that's all I'm doing tomorrow.
Well, good, because he's got a great book coming out, and Tracy's got one I've got here to read too. So we will see you next time. It's all about the story. Thank you for joining us for the Book and Film Club. So bye for now. We'll see you at the movies.
Good night.
Bye.
Happy 4th.
Happy 4th.